Marcus, how you doing?
Hello, Tim. Yeah, happy holiday soon.
Thank you very much. And
Welcome, sir.
thanks for calling in. What are we talking about today? We're talking about cheating.
Yeah, about the cheating and getting over if somebody does it. I mean, I think people just really need to realise that actually, most of the time, I think they should, depending on the individual circumstances, of course. But a lot of the therapies that I do for my LGBTQ crew, it's all about polyamorous relationships and how to manage them. So I think it's just become part of what life is these days. But it was always part of it, but people were not willing to accept it.
And do you think in order for people not to get hurt, though, it's about being candid and honest up front?
Yes, yeah, that bit, absolutely. That bit has to be, otherwise what I've just said is rubbish.
Yeah.
If you're up front right from the start, then I don't see it actually being as much of a problem as if it was the other way around.
Yes, I think that's right. Yes, yeah, absolutely. No, yeah. And if people do, one of the things I'm interested in, particularly in sort of polyamorous relationships, but also in, I think it happens in relationships anyway, is if there's, even if people say, oh yes, I'm very open to this or I'm accepting this, but if there's an inequality of either, not necessarily commitment, but the way they feel about it. So it's like, yes, I am into it, but then when it actually happens, there's sometimes
totally different.
You can have that thing where it's like, actually, I find that really difficult. I find that painful.
Yeah, and you really have to be okay with yourself, and he or she has to be okay with themselves as well. And there are a lot of what ifs that need to be standard, as in all of that stuff needs to be dealt with beforehand. And I'm not saying it's easy, and yes, it is difficult, but actually, it is reality.
Yeah. And if somebody what advice would you give? I mean, as a sort of, I know you're a relationship counsellor. If somebody has gone through a painful, somebody has cheated on them and they're finding it very difficult to forgive, what advice would you give for that?
Oh, well, there's a few variables there. I mean, if somebody is cheating on their partner, there might, and I know I'm going to get crucified for this, but there might be a good reason why they might be in the first place, even though it could be for all the wrong reasons. Laurie Anderson, who did a little bit of collaboration with Peter Gabriel in the 1980s on his So album, they had a song called Excellent Birds. This is the picture, Excellent Birds. And when she was interviewed later on, she said 90% of people who are with a partner actually are in the wrong relationship. So there's only 10% of us who are actually living in the correct relationship if you take what she said with a little bit of interest. So
it's interesting because we often the thing we're mourning when a relationship goes wrong is a sort of idealised version of the relationship, isn't it? I know there's a comedian who opens his set and says, "Oh, I just recently got divorced," and everyone goes, "Ah," and he said, "Why are you going, ah? No good relationship ended in divorce." That kind of idea of actually, if a relationship breaks up, you're not in the right place anyway. But so many of us find it difficult to accept that, don't we?
They absolutely do, and what I find is a lot of people are in love with the idea of being in love.
Yeah.
And it's just a really difficult one. And when you try and show people how, when their authenticity comes out, and when you see the other person's authenticity, when it almost gets to that point where you can't hide behind the authentic nature that I'm trying to get my clients to become, there is that little light bulb moment where, oh, I didn't see that, or no, I wasn't willing to accept what I was looking at. I was hiding behind the in love with the idea of being in love aspect. Yeah, it is difficult. And yes, I do.
Marcus, thanks so much for calling in. That's lovely. Thanks for the perspective again. I really appreciate that, Marcus. Thank you. You can still ring me if you want on 0800